Get in line, get in line, you call your name, get in line.
What number are you? 7. Wait, only people who I call go up there.
No one knows what it's like to be the bad man, to be the sad man behind the eyes. My name is David Gerard. I'll be turning 53 in February. I live at Loring Towers apartment complex in Salem. I worked for a nonprofit, the Mass Association for the Blind, as an administrative assistant. In the 3 years that I was there, I ended up sort of being environmentally exposed to something that kind of triggered a very severe asthma condition in me, which is one of the things I'm suffering from now. I personally think that it was a sick building, but that was something that was hard to prove. I'm currently on disability. My 1-year NASCAP subsidy voucher expired November 30th of 2011. My portion of the rent was $275 a month. I am currently paying the market rent for this 1-bedroom apartment, which is $901 a month. My sole source of income is disability, and I currently received a mild increase in the beginning of 2014. So my current income is $1165 and my rent is $901. It does not leave me enough money to buy food. It doesn't take into account basic utilities. I still have to pay electric, even though the heat and hot water is paid for. And just the basic things to live on. I do receive some money from the SNAP food stamp program, but there's still daily expenses. Doing the laundry doesn't come free. Buying things to clean around the house doesn't come free. So, I mean, there are little incidental things that people don't even think about and take for granted that I stress over. I cashed out my 401k, and that's what I've been using. And you know, that was supposed to be for a retirement, and it's become an emergency fund, which I've had to continually dip into.
No, I'm not calling you lazy. Okay, I'm not going to argue with you. This is not the time. I'm not, okay, you can feel that way. But this is, I volunteer every day. I'm 69 years old. I come out of my house in the cold and the snow, and I do to try to help to make sure that you're able to get the things that you need.
My name is Miss Edna Eugene Wilridge. I'm originally from Fort Worth, Texas. I moved here in Massachusetts in 1979. I was a person that, when I was brought up in a house. I was brought up in Texas. We had land and stuff. And I never would have believed that I would even have to have a Section 8. And it just happened that I was living in an apartment that had been sold, and the landlord that was taking over the building wanted to go up on our rent $300. And I know the people in there could not afford that $300. We went and negotiated with the landlord. It didn't work the first time. They still wanted at least $150. I know we still couldn't afford it. So they came back to the table and they said, okay, $75. Oh, I says, no, we can't afford that. So went back. They came back to the table. We got a contract for 5 years. The rent could only go up $35. I said, yes, we will do it. And then we got everybody in the building to sign up for Section 8, and we all became Section 8 tenants. That's exactly how I got my Section 8. When people talk to me about Section 8, I say, oh, no, not me. But you know what I say now? Oh, yes, why not? If it can help me to better myself and be able to take care of myself, that's a plus. I've had Section 8 approximately, I think maybe 12 years. And I'm not ashamed to tell someone.
What would ideally happen would be for the Section 8 voucher to be made available. But so many people have told me very discouraging things. It's very frustrating for me, and it's a strike against me is that I'm considered a low priority because I'm a single disabled man. I'm not the head of a household. I don't have dependent children. The whole project-based voucher issue is a classic example of bureaucracy gone insane, because there are so many agencies and entities that are involved. It's not just one centralized agency like, say, the Salem Housing Authority. There's Community Teamwork, Inc., and they work at the Salem Housing Authority. The project-based vouchers are administered through HUD. There's so many ways that things can get screwed up, and they end up getting screwed up. Since 2010, I have been on all the waiting lists for Section 8 housing. No, I do not know what my place is in line. And that's not an answer that if I were to approach the agencies and ask them that question, they would basically laugh at me, because it's not even an issue of knowing where your place is. It's basically you putting in the paperwork and crossing your fingers. I do not want to turn around and find out that I have absolutely no financial resources and I've squandered them all just to continue to live here. So my own self-imposed deadline is 6 months. And during that 6 months time, I'm not just even sitting on my heels. I'm looking to find a place to move to. It's interesting because when I have spoken to people at various agencies, they're shocked because they assume that some people come to them and haven't done their homework. And there isn't a single stone that I have not left unturned. I've gone to all the agencies that are possible for me to sign up and register for in terms of Section 8. I've let my friends know about my housing situation. I look at classified ads from the newspapers every week. I go on Craigslist several times a week looking for apartments. I don't know if there's any other feasible avenue that I have not pursued in terms of finding a solution.
Well, when people come and talk to me about applying for Section 8, I let them know, go sign up, but there's no Section 8. I don't want them to have hope and think that they are going to get one right away, because that would be wrong within me, because I know it's not true. And that's what people are telling them, and they need to know. We organized this organization, nonprofit, called SETI, so that we might be able to help the people in Section 8 to be able to get some of the things that they needed as well. I would never in my life as a child, as an adult, would think that I would be doing this today. But I'm proud of what I do. I try to help who I can. I don't get paid for what I do. I work here at SETI from 9 o'clock, sometimes from 9 to 9. I don't only work here in this building. I go out to other meetings. I find out what other people are doing to help better SETI. I try to be a part of things that are in the neighborhood so that people will know there is a SETI. This is what I do.
My name is Ernestine Simmons. I'm originally from South Carolina, but I've lived in Boston most of my life. Edna has a nonprofit organization called Section 8 Incorporated. It was like I was in trouble, I needed some help, and she created an organization just for me. I'm like, I couldn't have called it a better time. When Boston Housing Authority was saying that they were about to run out of money to pay the rents for the federal Section 8s, and that's what I have. because they hadn't identified who they were going to cut. So I said, I'm in a real vulnerable situation here. So I got on the phone and I called SETI. I said, Edna, this is what's going on. But when Edna went down there with my name in her mouth, things started, like we say, crack-a-lacking, you know? I started getting my phone calls returned. It was terrific. You know, it was terrific to be heard and to know that there are people who can go and get it done just by inquiring. You know, they could get it done.
Affordable housing has become, in our society, I think the affordable housing crisis is just as important as the lack of jobs crisis is, the healthcare issue. It should receive the same amount of attention because it's a travesty that so many people's lives are impacted in such a devastating way because of the lack of affordable housing. I'm distressed that the media seems to be complacent about the issue. We've had various hearings at the State House discussing affordable housing. I've testified at many of those. I've testified at hearings in the Salem area. I want to be the voice and the face of the low-income people who are trying just to live and to survive in this city, so that those people can't be ignored. We can't necessarily save everybody. People fall through the cracks, and you don't hear about their stories very often, so you don't know how that impacts communities. But the shape of communities changes when people who have lived there for most of their lives suddenly have to move.
Come and live with me for a week and see what I go through. And some of the people up there in Congress, they need to walk a mile in some of our shoes and see exactly what's going on out here, and therefore they would have a better understanding. In December of 2013, they were afraid that there would be 500 people to lose their home. So what we did, we organized a thing called SOS, and SOS had a meeting at Roxbury Community College to educate, to let the people know exactly what was going on.
Warridge, who are going to just talk to you for a second, and then they'll turn it over to the personal stories.
Good afternoon. I can understand your frustration about what you've heard today, okay? Just because I'm up here, I'm in the same situation that you are. But by getting angry and talking the way that we are now, it's not going to help the matter none. What we have to do is we have to work together. We have to do the thing that we know that is best to do.
On the wall, you'll notice there's what we would call a triptych. The 3 photographs that were portraits that I took in 1987. And on the far left was one of the first pictures that I took actually when we landed in Paris. We were taking a walk along the Seine, and there was this Parisian homeless guy that was passed out on the sidewalk, and I just thought it was a very poetic picture. I'm not the kind of person who takes pictures and says here's the plight of somebody. I just thought it was a picture of a nice sleeping youth, and that's why I took it. I turned to the creative process to get out of my head when I'm just surrounded by the stress of my current living situation and my finances, and I feel overwhelmed. One of my favorite open mics to go to are Monday night open mics at In a Pig's Eye, where a lot of my friends who are also musicians and artists like to hang out and perform. I'm planning on going there tonight to perform.